How do you become a millionaire in real estate? I get this question all the time. Noelle, how do you become a real estate millionaire? Can it still be done? Well, the answer is yes. Absolutely, it can still be done. There's tons of ways to do it. I'm going to share with you exactly how to do it step by step so you don't miss a thing. Let's go. I'm going to share with you my simple formula on how to become a millionaire in real estate step by step and how to do it in less than a year. I'm going to share with you my special sauce on how you can do all of this by just doing one thing per day, and it'll only take you about an hour per day. And last but not least, I'm going to share with you my simple secret 3-step process so that you can get a deal in less than 30 days. So let's talk about what it really means to be a millionaire. So there's 3 different definitions if you're going to try to be a millionaire. There's 3 different ways that you could become a millionaire, and you got to decide which one it is. So the first way, of course, you could have $1 million. So if you have $1 million cash, boom, you're a millionaire. I don't think that most people are millionaires by this way because, again, even if you make a lot of money, one of the things that a rich person or a wealthy person is always doing is making sure that their money is making money for them. So they never really try to keep hoards and hoards of cash. You know, obviously, if you're a billionaire, I'm sure you have millions of dollars because there's just nothing else you can buy or spend it on. But for most people that live a very comfortable life, consider themselves rich, they do not have $1 million in cash. Or if they do, they quickly try to invest it in something that's making them money. So that's the first way. The second way to become a millionaire is by your assets. So this is the way that most people become a certified millionaire. This is essentially you add up all of your assets, you minus out the liabilities or the debt that goes against that asset if there is one, and then that net number is your net worth. So given a quick example, if you have 5 properties and they were all worth $200,000 and you didn't owe anything on them, then of course you would be a millionaire. But let's just take that same example. You got 5 properties, they're all worth $200,000. But if you owed $100,000 on each of them, then of course you wouldn't be a millionaire. You would only be a half a millionaire. You'd have a net worth of $500,000. Again, still not too shabby, but letting you know that this is not difficult to do. It really doesn't take very much real estate or many assets to actually get yourself into millionaire status. You just got to kind of think about what that means. And then here is the last way to become a millionaire. So this is the fun way. This is the way that I enjoy, and this is the way that I like teaching people to become a millionaire. And this is by making at least $1 million per year. So if you make $1 million per year, that comes out to $83,333.33, 33333. If you ever did the math, go ahead and divide 1 million. You divide it by 12, it will come out to a little bit over $83,000 per month. And obviously, if you made that every single month, or even if you average that, then you would make $1 million in a year and you would be a certified millionaire. Boom. But being a millionaire, actually, I said all of that. The real way to become a millionaire when you're starting out is to change your mindset. So before I actually ever was a millionaire, I had started to think of myself as a millionaire. I started to read about what millionaires did. I started to read and think about how they got there, how much money that required, what I was going to do, things like that. So when I say, and when most people say that being a millionaire really is a mindset, they are telling the truth. There are people that actually do make $1 million a year and really do have $1 million in assets, but you would never hear them saying that they're a millionaire. They don't consider themselves one. They never really thought about it. They don't think about it. So in a sense, they're not one. If you actually have $1 million in assets and you're not actually living like a millionaire, you work every day and you struggle and you strive and you don't live a life of abundance, then you're probably not really a millionaire. Even people that don't make $1 million a year, they make far less than that, but they own their own time and they get to kind of do whatever it is that they want to do, then they, in my mind, are more of a millionaire than someone that just actually has the assets. So the truth of the matter is, I gave you those 3 real definitions in the way that people see you as a millionaire. But the truth about it is being a millionaire starts in your mind, and it starts with you saying, I'm going to live a millionaire lifestyle, and thinking about what that means for you. So now let's get to the fun part on how you become a millionaire through real estate. Well, the good thing about real estate is it is still the #1 way to wealth. If you have not heard before, I'm here to tell you that 89% of all millionaires were created so through real estate. That was true over 100 years ago when that statement was said by Andrew Carnegie, and it is still true to this day. So real estate will provide you 3 different types of ways to make money. And that's why it's so awesome and why it is the reason why millionaires are created. With real estate, you have three different ways. You have cash flow income. So if you have rental properties, usually you have a tenant in them, whether it be residential property or commercial property. You lease those properties out and you receive cash flow income, either monthly, weekly, daily, however you choose to rent out your property. That's one way. Another way that real estate creates millionaires, and one of the ways that you're going to tap into, is by finding properties that are below market value. So when you can own properties and you actually have equity in them, that increases your personal wealth. So just for an example, if you find a property and it's worth $100,000 and you're able to get it for $80,000, then you are in a situation where you have $20,000 worth of equity, and that's $20,000 that goes towards your personal wealth. And so it's numbers like that is how you will start to increase your personal wealth through real estate. And then the last and the best way, and why everyone loves real estate, probably more so than other investments, is that real estate, generally speaking, appreciates over time in value. So you bought that property, let's just use that same example. You bought it, was worth $100,000, you got it for $80,000, you had $20,000 worth of equity when you started. Now let's think about some of the things. Over time, in like 5 years, that property probably be worth $150,000. Again, you bought it only for $80,000, so instead of having only $20,000, now you have $70,000 worth of equity. Add to that $80,000 that you paid for it, most likely you got a mortgage for it and you've paid that down. So in 5 years, when it's worth $150,000, now maybe you only owe $50,000 on it. So you actually have a $100,000 worth of equity. And this is how you can really start to become a millionaire and really increase your personal wealth by, one, getting those properties, having that net worth and having that paper wealth, but then selling that property and literally getting that $100,000 in your pocket. This is the way. So now that we have real estate investing, you understand all of the different ways that we make money and you understand how you're going to become a millionaire. Let's talk about how you really do it on a technical aspect. So one of the things and one of the ways that we make a ton of money in real estate is finding off-market properties. Like I said, finding properties that are worth maybe $100,000 and we can get them for $70,000 or $80,000, or again, less than what they are worth. But to do that, to really do that, you got to be someone that is there to help. So one of the techniques that we have that makes a ton of money in real estate is becoming a problem solver. You basically start to market to people. You find people with property problems. Find people that are behind on their mortgage payment. Maybe they're in foreclosure or pre-foreclosure. People that are going through bankruptcy or divorce, or they got relocated and now they have to sell their property. Or maybe it's a situation where they inherited a house that's old and dated and they don't even want it. It was their mom or their dad's or their grandma's house. And in many cases, you're helping them get rid of that property, and you can get those properties for pennies on the dollar, okay? Because they're in a situation where they no longer want the house or they can't deal with the house, you as a real estate investor go into those situations, you help them by taking those unwanted properties from them, and you make a lot of money in the process. So to really become a millionaire, start thinking of yourself as a solution to people's problems, especially real estate problems. So how I became a real estate millionaire was through my patented process that I call market, convert, solve. So basically you will find people with property problems, you'll have those conversations with them, you'll convert them, by getting them under contract, and then you will find solutions. You will solve. You will either, wholesale the property, you will fix and flip the property, or, you'll make it a rental property. Again, tons and tons of different things that you can do with the property. If you click below, I have my full blueprint that tells you all of the different ways that the market, convert, solve works, and gives you all of those already bulleted out for you. So go ahead and check that out. So this is how you're going to take this concept of being a problem solver, finding people with property problems, and then being a solution to that problem and make money in the process. So in the beginning, when you first start to be a solution to people's problems, you'll do something that we call deal compounding. So when you first get started, for me, I actually was started off in real estate investing the right way, broke and with bad credit. So I was literally in my parents' basement. I had multiple foreclosures. I had bankruptcy. I was a mess, okay? And I learned from a coach. He taught me about real estate investing and about wholesaling. Again, he taught me what I'm teaching you right here for free, where I would target and find people with property problems. I would convert them, and then I would wholesale those properties out. And so this is the same technique of what I'm telling you that you can do today. And you'll start off with wholesaling, because if you're like me and you have bad credit or you don't have much money, you can get some money by doing some wholesaling. Then you can get into fixing and flipping. That's what I did. I took some of my profits from wholesaling and I started doing some fix and flips. And then next thing I did was I started to keep some of those fix and flips as rental properties and amassed a nice little rental portfolio. Then I was able to quit my job. So this is deal compounding, and this is how I got to millionaire status. I literally just took what I had and I started where I was. I used these techniques that I'm teaching you right here, and I was able to amass properties. I sold some of them off, got lump sums of cash. The most I ever got on one of my flips was like almost $140,000. But on the low end, even if I was just wholesaling, I was getting $5,000. So I was making anywhere between $5,000 to $140,000 on each deal. And again, if you look this up, this is not just Noel blowing smoke. You literally can find that the average profit on a flip, on a fix and flip, was over $65,000 last year, okay? So these are real numbers. This is stuff that you can do. I have students doing this every single day. I invest in real estate, and this is truly how you can become a real estate millionaire. So I have created a complete free training that you can go to at noelsfreetraining.com. It's an entire course that I made for free that outlines everything. It tells you my exact formula for investing in real estate, making big profits without losing money. Again, I made it completely for free for you. Just access it at noelsfreetraining.com. I want to make sure that you have all of the tools, all of the resources, and all of the knowledge that you need to be successful. This is Noel. To your success.